I have fallen in love at first sight with 3 people, my husband, my son, and whoop.
After years of whispers, speculation, and half-told stories, Nicolle Wallace has finally decided to speak openly about one of the most personal chapters of her life, her divorce. For a woman who spends her career analyzing power, politics, and truth on national television, this was a truth she kept guarded for a very long time. But behind the calm smile and sharp political insight was a private struggle that few truly understood. In this video, we delve beyond the rumors and headlines to uncover what really happened, why Nicolle chose silence for so long, and what ultimately prompted her to reveal her side of the story. This is not just about a divorce. It's about privacy, resilience, and the cost of living your life in the public eye. Born Nicolle Devonish on February 4, 1972 in Orange County, California, she grew up in a household defined by discipline and humility. Her father worked as an antiques dealer, her mother as a teacher's assistant, roles that instilled in her a respect for hard work and persistence. Though raised amid California's laid-back sunshine, Wallace's ambitions stretched far beyond her hometown. At UC Berkeley, she earned a degree in mass communications, discovering a passion for storytelling and public discourse. That curiosity deepened at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism, where she refined the skills that would later define her voice in American political media. Through it all, family remained her anchor. She has often credited her parents with keeping her grounded, once saying they taught her not just how to work hard, but how to matter. Her ascent in politics began behind the scenes, working on the turbulent 2000 Florida recount, before rising swiftly within George W. Bush's administration. By 2005, she had become White House Communications Director, one of the youngest ever to hold the role. Calm in crisis and precise with language, Wallace earned a reputation as someone who could steady the message when the nation felt unsteady itself, particularly during the divisive years of the Iraq War. The 2008 presidential campaign marked a turning point. Serving as a senior advisor to John McCain and overseeing communications tied to Sarah Palin, Wallace found herself increasingly conflicted. In later reflections, she admitted there were moments when the campaign felt like it was slipping beyond control. That disillusionment ultimately nudged her away from the machinery of politics and toward media, where reflection replaced spin, and honesty mattered more than victory. In stepping back, Nicolle Wallace didn't retreat. She evolved, carrying the weight of past choices, the lessons of loss, and a quieter resolve to speak truthfully, even when it hurt. Along the way, she crossed paths with another rising Republican figure, Mark Wallace, and in 2005, their marriage symbolized more than romance. It was a union built on shared ambition, ideology, and Washington dreams. Together, they thrived during the Bush years. Nicolle became a defining voice of the White House as communications director, while Mark represented the United States on the global stage as ambassador to the United Nations. Their partnership extended seamlessly into the political arena, with both playing senior advisory roles during John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign. At home, their sense of fulfillment deepened with the birth of their son, Liam, in 2011. A moment that seemed to anchor their lives amid the relentless churn of politics. Yet beneath the surface, the ground was beginning to shift. As the Republican Party evolved, so did its beliefs. In 2013, Nicolle and Mark made a public and unexpected statement of conscience by supporting same-sex marriage, even submitting a brief to the U.S. Supreme Court. It was a quiet but powerful signal that their political identities were no longer bound by party orthodoxy. For Nicolle especially, this marked the start of a slow, often painful separation from the ideology that had once defined her career. That distance grew unmistakable during the Trump era. Through her commentary on MSNBC, Nicolle's reflections became sharper, more conflicted, and increasingly critical. The woman who had once spoken for a Republican White House now openly questioned the direction of the party she helped build. By March 2021, she described herself with striking honesty as a self-loathing former Republican, a phrase that captured both regret and reckoning. Running parallel to this political transformation was a deeply personal unraveling. Her 14-year marriage to Mark, once fortified by shared beliefs and mutual ambition, came to a quiet end in 2019. In the end, Nicolle Wallace's story is not just one of political reinvention, but of identity, loss, and reflection, a reminder that evolution often comes at a cost, and that the most profound journeys are rarely the ones we plan. The romance after divorce arrived quietly, almost unnoticed at first, unfolding in a place defined by deadlines, discipline, and political gravity rather than candlelight or chance encounters. Inside the studios of MSNBC's Deadline, White House, where urgency ruled and every word carried weight, an unexpected connection began to take shape. What started as a routine professional interaction slowly became something far more intimate and far more human. Michael Schmidt, a respected investigative reporter from the New York Times, was already a familiar name in journalism. He had helped expose the Hillary Clinton email server story and played a key role in revealing the extent of Russian interference in the 2016 election. When he began appearing regularly on Nicolle Wallace's program, the relationship was strictly professional. Schmidt arrived as a reporter armed with facts and fresh revelations. Wallace, a seasoned political analyst, absorbed and expanded upon them. Their exchanges were sharp, thoughtful, and rooted in a shared devotion to truth. Viewers noticed the chemistry before either of them fully acknowledged it. On air, their conversations flowed effortlessly, guided by intellectual respect and mutual curiosity. They spoke the same language, the language of sources, accountability, and long nights chasing clarity in a chaotic political era. Beneath that polished professional rapport, however, something deeper was quietly forming, shaped by the pressures and passions of the world they both inhabited. By March 2019, the boundary between newsroom collaboration and personal connection had gently dissolved. Despite a 12-year age difference, Wallace in her late 40s, Schmidt in his mid-30s, the gap felt irrelevant. Journalism had given them common ground, a shared rhythm, and an understanding of sacrifice that few outside the profession could fully grasp. In a world that demanded emotional restraint, they found rare comfort in one another. Yet even as the relationship grew, it carried an undercurrent of caution. Aware of the ethical complexities, they chose transparency over secrecy, informing MSNBC management of their relationship. It was a deliberate act, one rooted in integrity, allowing Schmidt to continue appearing on Wallace's show without compromising journalistic standards. Their story is tinged with nostalgia, shaped by late-night studios and quiet understanding, and marked by the bittersweet knowledge that love, when born under public scrutiny, must always share space with responsibility. It stands as a reminder that even in the most serious corners of public life, human connection finds a way, often softly and never without consequence. Their relationship stepped into public view not through an announcement or headline, but through a quiet, unmistakable moment of togetherness. When they attended the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas, side by side, the media world took notice. It was their first appearance as a couple, and the symbolism was hard to miss. A former Republican power strategist and a relentless investigative journalist walking the same path, unguarded and unapologetic. Interest swelled quickly. Observers watched closely as they moved through public events with ease, blending private affection with professional confidence. There was no sense of spectacle, only a measured calm that suggested two people who understood the weight of visibility and chose composure over performance. Their presence offered a rare glimpse into how public figures could remain authentic without surrendering credibility. Still, the balance was delicate. Both continued to carry demanding careers that left little room for missteps. Wallace remained firmly at the center of political discourse, guiding her show as it grew in influence and reach. Schmidt, meanwhile, stayed focused on the work that defined him, breaking consequential stories for the New York Times and remaining anchored in investigative rigor. Their partnership reflected a modern media-era romance, one shaped by long hours, ethical boundaries, and constant scrutiny. It carried a quiet nostalgia for privacy rarely afforded to people in their positions, and an unspoken awareness that love, when lived in the public eye, must be carefully protected. In that space between ambition and intimacy, they showed that personal connection and professional purpose could coexist, even under the unblinking gaze of the world. In the spring of 2022, far from studio lights and the constant hum of political debate, Nicolle Wallace and Michael Schmidt chose a quieter moment to begin their next chapter. They exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony, deliberately shielded from cameras and commentary. The decision reflected how they had always guarded their private lives, carefully, thoughtfully, and with a focus on meaning rather than spectacle. For two journalists accustomed to living under scrutiny, intimacy felt like a rare luxury worth protecting. The world did not learn of their marriage through headlines or press releases. Instead, the first clue appeared almost by accident, when attentive viewers noticed a wedding band on Wallace's hand during one of her MSNBC broadcasts. It was a subtle revelation, perfectly in keeping with a couple who believed their work should speak louder than their personal milestones. Schmidt entered the marriage carrying not only devotion, but a formidable professional legacy. His Pulitzer Prize-winning reporting had helped redefine modern political journalism, from uncovering Russian interference in American elections to exposing pivotal developments within the Trump administration. At the New York Times, his investigative rigor earned him credibility across ideological divides, a distinction that mirrored Wallace's own evolution from Republican insider to respected political commentator. Their shared experiences in the pressure-filled corridors of Washington gave them a rare understanding of power, consequence, and change. That common ground strengthened their bond. Both had witnessed the shifting tides of American politics up close, and their conversations, personal and professional alike, were shaped by years of analysis, skepticism, and hard-earned perspective. In each other, they found not only partnership, but intellectual companionship, where insights flowed naturally, and disagreement sharpened understanding rather than dividing it. Their joy deepened in November 2023 with the arrival of their daughter, Isabella Sloan Schmidt, born via surrogate. Her birth reshaped the rhythm of their lives, bringing tenderness and renewal into a household already filled with history. Isabella joined Wallace's son, Liam, from her previous marriage, forming a blended family rooted in patience, care, and mutual respect. It was a modern vision of parenthood, one where biology and choice merged seamlessly into love. Balancing demanding public careers with private responsibility required constant calibration. Wallace continued anchoring her expanded 2-hour MSNBC program, while Schmidt remained immersed in investigative work at the Times. Yet beyond deadlines and breaking news, their home became a refuge. Their professional accolades faded into the background, replaced by shared meals, homework sessions with Liam, and quiet moments cradling a newborn. Their story carries a reflective weight of lives lived publicly, love protected privately, and the understanding that in a world defined by noise, the most meaningful moments often unfold in silence. Rising from the shadow of controversy, Nicolle Wallace's journey from Republican strategist to MSNBC's most influential voices remains one of television journalism's most compelling reinventions. What began as a risky departure from her political roots slowly evolved into a powerful act of self-definition. Deadline. White House grew into a space where complexity was not avoided, but embraced, offering audiences something increasingly rare: measured, thoughtful political conversation in an age of outrage. By 2020, the show's impact was undeniable. Its growing audience prompted MSNBC to expand the program to 2 full hours, a decision that reflected more than strong ratings. It signaled a deeper emotional connection with viewers who were searching for clarity, context, and honesty amid political turmoil. Wallace's approach carried a quiet nostalgia for civil discourse, even as it confronted the painful realities of a fractured political landscape. Perhaps most striking was her willingness to openly challenge the party that once defined her career. When Republican positions clashed with Democratic values, she did not hesitate to speak out. That courage, rooted in reflection rather than rebellion, earned her respect across ideological lines. In doing so, Wallace reshaped her legacy, proving that growth, even when born from loss and disillusionment, can become a source of enduring influence.